Hey guys, welcome to the Live at 5 here at Valencia Medical Center. I'm Dr. Abraham, and thank you for joining us. We're gonna be talking. We had some questions sent through this past week and the week before. We were actually doing a training in Santa Barbara last week, so we couldn't do the Live at 5. We got to inject in front of a bunch of my colleagues, and it was a great experience. I know we had some questions about the training because people were asking about the model I used to inject, and I know we posted this story yesterday, and people were asking about how many filler I used on that model, and we can go through some of that stuff. But also we can go through any other questions you guys have. We are talking about fillers mostly today, and Botox, and one of the main kind of family of fillers is Juvederm. The other kind of Juvederm's main competitor in the market is Restylane. So there's the Restylane fillers and the Juvederm fillers. They're both great. The training that I was doing and the injections I was doing last week in front of the other injectors were for the Juvederm product, and we did a lot of cheeks and chin injections because this is one of the new indications that has recently came on label with the Voluma product, and that's chin augmentation. So a lot of people are familiar with using Voluma for the cheeks, and some people are also familiar with it being used for the chin, but it has gotten the kind of clearance for that. So now with that came a lot more attention and awareness, and we've been seeing a lot more people coming and asking about the chin, and it is a great area to treat. So yeah, I know one of the questions that people were asking were about how many fillers were used in the chin and how many fillers were used in the cheeks of the model that we used yesterday, and it was basically 4 and 4. So 4 fillers. I used 4 fillers in her cheeks, and that means 2 per side. So two fillers on each side or in each cheek, and then we used 4 fillers total in the chin, and so that's 8 fillers. And as most people commented, they really like the results from that model, and as you guys can tell, like even with 8 syringes, you can still have very natural looking, very soft looking face that does give you some of the lifting and restore some of the volume that we lose with age. The chin does take more filler if you really want optimal results than what some people might think. For example, when we do lips, you can do 1 filler and it might be all you need to really give volume and projection to the lips, it being a smaller area. But when you talk about an area like the chin, usually everybody's different, but usually you have to kind of address you have to address kind of the center of the chin, but you also have to address the sides, and kind of adding enough volume here to give you, noticeable projection, plus adding volume on the side. Does require a good amount of filler. So that's why 3 or 4 syringes in the chin is very common and very normal. But honestly, most people do end up getting long-lasting results when you use. I've personally noticed that when you use more fillers, the results tend to last a little bit longer. So that's yeah. So I think Cassie's behind the phone. She's
I am filming today, so I'm here.
Me laugh a little bit.
I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit how you were kind of touching on the, the natural versus, I don't know, like expectation, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that think, oh my gosh, 5 fillers or 4 fillers, I'm going to look so overdone. So is it placement? Is it injector? How...
Yeah. And we've all seen these, sometimes even scary pictures on Instagram, or even if not scary, at least the obviously overdone pictures of people who have obviously too much done in the face. And honestly, first of all, a lot of times, most of the time, you see pictures like that looks, like way too much. A lot of times it's surgical. Not that surgery can be great and can be done, but usually these dramatic results that sometimes can easily be seen as overdone isn't like something that you see with a couple fillers. So it's usually a lot of times with these pictures, it is surgical. You can definitely overdo filler. Part of it is obviously, it's not just, putting too many filler. Like someone can look like, the placement is very important. So you can take someone and do like 4 syringes of filler and make it look a little bit unnatural, just with 3 or 4 syringes of filler, if you don't really understand, I guess, the anatomy of the face and the shape we're trying to go for, where we're starting, what we're going for. And you can easily take, we did 11 in that model, and everybody said, Stacy looks very natural stuff. And you can easily do 11, you can do even 15 or 16 sometimes we do it. It still looks very soft, very natural. So really, placement is a big issue. If you are distributing it in a proper fashion, keeping the symmetries of the face in mind, keeping the natural contours of the face in mind, and just kind of augmenting that, then really 11 syringes is really can be done with that, because it's only, another way to think about it is 11 mLs, 11 cc's of fluid, and honestly 11 cc's of fluid is really not much. So not everybody needs 11 cc's, some people, and not everybody is looking to kind of get like the most dramatic transformation with just one treatment. So a lot of times people will do like 3 or 4 and then kind of stop there, or maybe come back in a few months and doing an extra 2 or an extra 3, depending on what they're trying to achieve. So the point isn't that everybody needs 10 or 11 or 15 syringes or 2 syringes. The point is everybody's different, but definitely, the fact that someone gets 4 or 5 or 6 or even 10 syringes doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna look unnatural. Yeah. In fact, honestly, what you're trying to do is you're just trying to restore some of the volume that we lost with time. So a lot of times, the more you add to an, unlimited point, but within certain constraints, the more you add, the better it's gonna look, the more natural it's gonna look, because the more you're gonna be able to restore some of that youthful contouring and some of that symmetry. One thing that research has shown and proved, once and more than once, many times, is that symmetry is very attractive, and it's a sign of it's something that everybody's attracted to. Even from little babies, when they show them symmetrical faces, they tend to kind of look at them for longer, and they hold more eye contact. And but the thing is, most of us do have asymmetries in our face, and often with age, these asymmetries become more and more pronounced. Meaning the left side, the left side is different than the right side. And there's even these apps and games you can play where you just take half of your side, half of your face, and kind of double or flip it, so that way you look at like 2 right sides or 2 left sides, and a lot of times people don't even recognize themselves, or it looks so weird. So we are very asymmetrical, and with time, a lot of these asymmetries tend to become more pronounced, so we see it more and more. And so if we really want to correct these asymmetries, sometimes you do need, a good amount of fillers to kind of balance the two and still kind of restore some of the asymmetries. So
awesome.
I think that's enough babbling for today.
I just have one more question, actually, because I know that 11 fillers is a lot of product, but so for people that are looking to kind of do that much, I guess, work, quote unquote, would you recommend splitting it up? Is that something that you could do in one session?
Yeah, most people we do split it up. In that session, and Friday's session, I was doing it, like I said, in front of many injectors, and so we kind of wanted to show, kind of like as much of the transformation as possible within one session. So we did it all together. You can do it together. We do it together sometimes, but for the most people, we do split it up. We might do 3 or 4 or even 5, per session, and then have them come for 2 to 3 sessions. And the other thing to keep in mind is also, yes, it might sound like a lot initially, and again, not everybody's gonna need 11, but even if we're just talking about 5 or 6, you might do 5, you might do 6, you might do 4, and then come back and do 2, and that's how you get your 6. It's not like, for most people, once we get to where, the 6 syringes, let's say, it's not like they're gonna come back every year and get another 6 syringes. Maintenance becomes much easier. Like our client hasn't had any fillers, ever before, and so we had to do kind of more initially, but now it's not like, she's gonna need to do 11 every year or so. Now she's happy where we got with these syringes, and maybe in 6 months or every year we might do like 1 syringe to kind of like just augment a few places where she's starting to lose. So, or maybe we'll do like 2 syringes in a year. So you have to kind of think of it as there's like an initial investment period to kind of get to where you want, and depending on how much work you already have done, depending on how much you're starting, that will determine whether that's going to be an 11 syringe investment, a 5 syringe investment, a 2 syringe investment. And again, maintenance is usually much easier after that.
Sure. So like I know that we try and put people on sort of like their beauty plan. So it's, customizable. It doesn't have to be, you have to do all, 6 syringes. We can break it up, right?
Exactly.
We try and kind of work with people. So
exactly. And sometimes people, they want to try. They're like, it sounds like it might be a lot, or they haven't done it before. So they're a little hesitant, or they don't believe me when I tell them 6 is still gonna look natural. So let's start with 2, and that's absolutely fine. We'll do 2, and then they'll come back and a month later, like, okay, now let's do the rest
sure.
of them. So there isn't one strict way it has to be done. There's definitely some flexibility. We're usually we are pretty honest on what results to expect with each plan, and with how many syringes we have plenty of before and after, with like different amounts of syringes. Everybody's going to respond a little bit differently, obviously, but it gives the client an idea, and then from there's definitely different ways to kind of approach the same kind of concern.
Awesome. I don't know, do you want to just touch a little bit on how the actual, were you excited? Were you nervous? Because you were in front of, you were teaching, right? Or you were helping, who was the other guy that you were with? What was the doctor's name?
I actually got to meet Dr. John Feza, who's a great physician. He's definitely one of the leaders in the field. He's based in Florida, and he's, I would say, in my opinion, among the top 5 kind of injectors worldwide in terms of like just their knowledge. They've been doing it for years, so I would definitely put him among the top 10 worldwide in terms of like skills and knowledge and influence. So it was a great honor to kind of meet him in person and kind of learn and teach, along his side. So it was a great opportunity. But yeah, I was very excited, very grateful for the opportunity. I wasn't too nervous, I think.
That's good. I know you were totally excited to not be the only guy there, so, yeah. Right? He was your buddy.
I think out of 30 injectors, there were 3 males and the rest were all females.
No, that's cool. Awesome. Well, if anybody else has any other questions, you guys are always welcome to call the office. I'm here, Cassie. I usually answer the phone. If not, I'm here to help. Kind of, if you have information. Doctor's really great too. So, we just wanted to be a little bit more consistent. Sorry we missed a couple lives, but we're here. We care about you guys. So, do you want to add anything else?
No, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Yay.